Willie, countdown well underway for Cheltenham this year. How overall do you see things as we stand here? Are you happy with where you are?
I am. Traditionally, this week we start getting harder with the horses and getting our first bits of work in yesterday morning. But when I looked at the team yesterday morning, I was very, very pleased at how fit they were and how good they appeared to be. And we probably worked about half them, and we only did half the amount of work that we'd normally do. So I was more than surprised at how well they looked.
And in terms of the overall strength this year, am I right in saying you could have as many as 60 horses running there? Is presumably the best you've ever had, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought we had about 30 last year. Someone told me here we had 44 or something like that. I thought maybe 44, 45, but I haven't counted. I haven't gone through the list yet. Normally we would do a probable list last week. We didn't do it. We'll probably do it next weekend and try and narrow down the horses that are going there.
And how difficult has the bad weather made life for you this winter? Obviously we've had an awful lot of rain over the past few months, but you've got great facilities there. Has that been a big help?
Two things huge help. One, the staff we have here are fantastic. I mean, the weather here last Monday week, I've never seen anything like it. Rain coming sideways across the gallops, but I went up there for first lot shortly after 8 o'clock, and there were my team all just waiting there as normal, like a sunny Sunday or like a sunny morning. So to have a team like that here has been huge, especially in these conditions. And then the other thing, our gallops, we spent a lot of money on them during the season and last summer, and thinking to myself, it's just a waste of money. Are we putting too much money into it? But we've been the benefit of it because of the weather. And
Hurricane Fly obviously spearheading the team once again. Talking to Ruby earlier on, he seems really happy with where he is now. Have things been pretty smooth since we saw him in the Irish Champion?
Yes, we haven't had any sort of misfortune like we had the week before that, but no, he's in good form, and he appears good and fit now. I didn't work him yesterday morning. I was very, very happy with him. I think he's in the right place. The first day will be Keegan's Hurricane Fly plus the novices, but they're the two main ones. I think that I'd love to see both of them winning. It'd be too much to ask, but if one of them can win for the horse's sake, the Hurricane Fly has the ability to win a third one, and Keegan to win 6 in a row would be fantastic for her as well.
It looks like it might be a relatively small field in the Champion Hurdle this year. Is that a worry at all? He's got plenty of small field form in Ireland, doesn't he?
No, not a worry. My only focus is to get him there in good form, and then we have to take on whatever we have to take on.
And obviously you've still got Annie Power and Undersow in there as well. It's going to be a last minute decision for Annie Power, certainly, isn't it?
Certainly, yes. As long as I can get them both over there, then if I have that decision to make, that'll be great. We'll make it whichever way it goes. But to me, at the moment, we're just concentrating on getting the horses across to Cheltenham, and we're going to have a fair few bits of work, like a lot of trainers will, and things go wrong. Horses get little get little injuries. They pick up all sorts of things, and of course, if you pick up something at this stage, it's getting very, very close. It probably means you're going to miss the festival. So at this stage, I'm not too worried about the decisions. I'm worried about getting the horse there in the first place.
And one negative people have maybe pointed to about Annie Power is that she's never been the World Hurdle Trip if she was to go for that race. There's no worries in your mind as far as stamina is concerned with her, is it?
It doesn't look like it. Every time we've gone a longer trip, she's been more impressive. She's been around the track, which is great. She's travelled, which is great. So I'm happy enough. Her pedigree suggests that she can stay. She'd buy a good staying horse out of a staying pedigree.
Just in relation to nutrition and the feed of the horses, Willie, how big a factor is that for you?
It's huge. We try to use the best feed that we can get, the best hay we can get. When we went to Australia, we had ordered the hay that we thought would suit us, and our hay merchant told us this is the equivalent that you will get over there. And when I got over there, Emmett wasn't happy with it. This was for Simenon, and indeed I wasn't happy with it either, and it was only a matter of a quick change. But these are the little things that You don't know when something like that is going to impact on your the horse's ability to race at his best level, and that's why it's important to have key staff there who can spot something and bring it to your attention, or maybe change it themselves.
And under so, Willie, by the sound of things, you're leaning away from running. I mean, the cynic's view is that you're not pitching him in against Hurricane Fly, but do you really feel he's just not ready for this yet?
I think I'm looking at On the So as maybe the future. There's great potential there. He hasn't. I mean, technically he's run at grade 2, but he really hasn't run in a proper graded race. And then to pitch him in the likes of a champion hurdle where there'll be plenty of pace, maybe. We don't know. Some people say there's going to be no pace, but then you don't know who's going to change tactics on the day and maybe make the pace. It'd be a tough race to put a horse in, not having been in against opposition like that.
And what is it, a mental thing? You're worried about how it might affect him mentally going forward, or physically?
I suppose mentally with his style of running, and maybe physically too. But he's got great potential, and I want to keep it.
And the novices this year, Willie, they look a really exciting bunch on paper. I suppose Vautour is probably the highest profile after his win at Leopardstown. Just how highly do you rate him?
Well, I thought that was a huge performance. I mean, to me, we all thought the Tuller Tank was going to take all the beating. He looked the best novice in the country. I was very happy to see our fellow beating him, but with the style of which he did it, there was no fluke about it. We just jumped out, ran, and he caught us up, and he went away from him again. So we didn't hide, he didn't hide, and we were lucky enough to come out on top. So that, I think that has, and I think the way the profile of both horses have gone this year, there's maybe more room for improvement in our fellow than theirs.
And Wicklow Brave's in that race as well. A different sort of profile, isn't he? He's won his few bumpers, but he's a nice horse to go in there with, isn't he?
Yes, he's got huge ability. He's very fast. Jumping might be... He didn't jump well enough the last day to win a Supreme Novice. However, I think maybe the better ground in Cheltenham and the faster pace of the race will be both positives for him. He will jump better going faster, I think.
And the staying novices, if you like, Willie, the horses that'll be running over the longer trips. Faheen, I suppose, is maybe the one people are most interested in. You've kept it relatively low profile with him, though. What was the thinking there?
Yes, but he had 3 runs, but they were earlier in the season. I didn't think he needed another run. He's very hard on himself. He's just very hard on himself. So I didn't think he jumps well. So I didn't think we needed to go for another race for him. And I was happy enough. At the moment, I suppose it would look like he might be. The Neptune might look a target. Briar Hill probably it has a different style of racing. He's much more relaxed. He likes Cheltenham. He's been there once, won easily, travelled away up the hill. And
Willie, obviously the owners involved, the Wileys and the Richies, they've got other possibles for those races, the likes of Renetti and Sure Reef. Would that mean they're in the reserve category at the moment? Yes, but I imagine they'll run too. There's no shame in having 2 runners from the one owner in a race. If you think you can win one, and lots of times, especially with the Irish novices, the unfancied one or the less fancied one rather than unfancied one comes up and wins. Especially in a race like the Supreme Novice, but I think the last few years the favourites have been having a better run of it. And most of those horses, I mean, to use the old cliche, they've done very little wrong, haven't they? Sure Reef won well last time. Renetti's had a good season. He did. They're 2 horses that are hard on themselves in their races as well, but they certainly have lots of ability. And novice chasers wise, Willie, Champagne Fever's the high profile horse, if you like. He's delivered for you twice there over in the past. I mean, do you think he's going to do himself proud once more? He's disappointed us in his prep races both years and gone to Cheltenham and won, so I hope the same thing probably comes around again this year, because he disappointed me in the Arkle. But he jumps well, and he loves Cheltenham, so his performance last year in the Supreme Novice was fantastic. Probably as good. Both Ruby and the horse had a huge performance in it. If you could go back there in that sort of form, it's all to play for anyhow. I've heard it mentioned that being off the track for so long might be a negative for him, but presumably you could have run him if you wanted to.
Yes, well, he wasn't right for the Moriarty, and I didn't feel like running him then in the other race, but he'll have a good racecourse school.
And the novice chase team overall, I mean, Ballycasey went and did it last time. He hasn't always lived up to his reputation, but he's going the right way now, isn't he?
He is. I mean, he was only first reserve behind Champagne Fever the last day. In Champagne, we didn't run then. He came in. And I loved what he did. Horse having his second run over fences, relative novice, taking on 2 Grade 1 winning performers. And did it again the hard way. Went out, made his own running, jumped from fence to fence, tackled by the two of them, and he was able to put them away again. You know, that was another huge performance, I thought. One
who wouldn't quite have the profile yet of those two, but I know you hold him in pretty high regard. Jack Adam, is he on course?
He's on course. Whether I run him or not, I'm going to have to have a word with the owner. I mean, he looks a huge horse for the future as well. He could be anything. Considering his performances, he's a fine stamp of a horse. He's only 5. I'm not so sure whether 5-year-olds are treated as well in England as they are in Ireland, and whether we would be better off waiting for a race like the Power Gold Cup in Fairyhouse.
And of course, Willie, back in the day, the Bumper was the race you really made your name in at Cheltenham with all those great successes in the early years. Looks like it's going to be a smaller than usual team this year, is it?
It does, but we've got 2 nice individuals, maybe 3. We've got James Hill, Black Hercules, and maybe Aminabad. Although there's a nice opportunity for Aminabad down in Limerick. There's a big race down there for 4-year-olds. James Hill's visually been very impressive. Black Hercules wasn't the first day, but he was the second day. You know, they're 2 nice horses to bring there, I think.
I ask you this every year, but how do they compare with previous winners of the race?
And then we have Kilolta Vic. He runs this weekend. You know, he could be a dark horse there too. Certainly, Shane's Hill's 2 performances measure up to anything I think we ever sent over there.
So would he possibly be number 1 at this stage, assuming the ground's okay?
The betting tells us that, and yeah, so I'll go with that.
Overall, Willie, I mean, we've spoken about the strength of the squad. Are you going to be strong in the handicaps too, do you think, or wait and see how the weights come out?
Yeah, I think so. Traditionally, I didn't enter horses in handicaps over there because we had enough to do, I thought. But the last few years, we've started running horses in handicaps. It's very hard to win handicaps in Cheltenham. We've been lucky with 1 or 2, but you've got to bring a lot of horses over for, you know, maybe 1 win. You know, we could bring maybe 20, 25 horses over to run in handicaps, and you're lucky if you get 1 win. I'd rather concentrate on the other races, the graded races, but the profile of the yard means we don't have anywhere to run the handicappers. They have to go across or else wait for Punchestown.
Overall, is it still a week that you really enjoy, or is it results dependent?
No, I don't enjoy it. It's work. It's apprehension. It's you're all the time. We go over there from the time we start till after the races when we finish, and the horse. The amount of work that has to be done after racing is huge. So, and then you're thinking and trying to decide. You're trying to listen to what other people are saying, which races they're going, who rides what. You're from the time we go over there on the Sunday, you're trying to focus on making the right decision for the right horses and getting the work done, and hope that the transport, logistics of getting them over and logistics getting them back home again works. So, you know, no doubt we get out to dinner and have a few drinks in the evening time, but it's not. We've far more fun now at Punchestown or maybe Aintree.
I'm sure in closing, if I was to say to you 1 winner that you could definitely have in the week, I'm sure you'd choose Hurricane Fly, but is there anything you're particularly sweet on at this stage?
Well, I mean, I'd love him to win for his own sake, and I'd love Kviga to win for her sake. That'd be a tremendous achievement, I think, and I would get a lot of personal satisfaction out of it, but I think for her it would be fantastic for the mare too.
And just to close on her, I mean, Hurricane Fly, they're both getting on a bit, but Hurricane Fly's been showing on the track that age isn't withering him. There's no sign of that with Kviga at home, is there?
No. Her breeder told me about 4 years ago she wouldn't be any good till she was 9. He said her mother was like that, and the whole family, they get better with age. I hope he's right.
And has it been the usual low-key, quiet build-up for it?
No, I think I have her well ahead of schedule this year. In fact, I was contemplating giving her a run in that mare's race in Punchestown, and then I just wasn't happy with her last week, and I said, right, if I'm going to give her a little, if she has to get an easy time, I'll give it to her now because we're ahead of schedule, we have the time. So I took it. I gave her a few easy days just walking, and she's back riding out now again. So I'm happy that we still have plenty of time.